Microvision, ticker symbol MVIS, it was sitting at about $12 yesterday, but this morning it's close to $14. One of the most active pre-market stocks this morning. Here we're going to look into what's the company about, some interesting insights about the customers, insiders, and some interesting financial information. Let's get started. Firstly, when you go onto the internet, you'll find different types of articles going on in this direction. Most of them are in the negative direction, where it's basically talking about how the shares fell, why it should not be valuated so much. Because it is a stock which is sitting at about $1 to $2 billion without any revenue, without any profits going on. So the revenue is very less, minimalistic compared to the amount of loss they're comparing. So I mean, based on those factors, you will see a lot of negative connotation that's going on. This particular article, which came out yesterday, is even basically talking about how it's being a meme stock. I mean, if you look into the Wall Street bets, yes, it's part of that community. It's part of that ticker symbol where it's being discussed. But I think there is more to it. But also, we need to understand the more background. So it's basically marketing itself as more of a LiDAR play, EV play, and also into that augmented reality space. But let's try to understand what's happening without the company. So there has been these rumors going on that Microvision, this started picking up space when the EV sector all started to boom up early last year, and there was this rumor where Microsoft might be buying them, Apple might be buying them, even Tesla might be buying them. So there have been all these different types of rumors that have been going on, and that has been pumping the stock quite a bit. But this was very, very interesting. Yesterday, they had this Q2 conference call, and the CEO basically mentioned and confirmed that they are currently working with Microsoft, and Microsoft's HoloLens, it has Microvision inside it. Or let's look into this play. I'm going to play the Q2 earnings call that happened yesterday, the clip where he confirms that he is working with Microsoft. So let's play this.
Early applications of our technology included heads-up displays for U.S. military and automotive systems. In the market today, our technology can be found in Microsoft's HoloLens 2 product.
So there was it. You could hear that where he's talking about they are being part of the Microsoft HoloLens 2 product. And this is the transcript of that call where he's talking about early applications of our technology includes heads-up display for the US military and automotive systems. In the market today, our technology can be found in Microsoft's HoloLens 2 product. What's one interesting thing about the call is you could hear that his script, or there was a way he was speaking, that was already typewritten, and he was just reading off a pre-written script. So that was something which was already discussed and vetted through all the lawyers, especially concerning all the NDAs that they might have with Microsoft. So something interesting to look into. And what's more interesting is Microsoft has worked, or they have this contract with the US Army, and that contract is close to $21 billion, where they are going to be supplying these HoloLens to the US Army, and they're looking to custom build 120,000 HoloLens. The HoloLens will be different to the commercial HoloLens that you see in the market, and these are pretty expensive pieces, and you won't see many people carrying this. It's more towards the research purposes, or maybe some in the manufacturing industries, but not so much. But the most exciting is this particular contract they have with the US Army. Now, let's come into the insider information. So let's understand what's happening. So the float is 156 million, but the short percentage of the float, it's about close to 19%. So that's where basically you have that interest going on with the Wall Street bets in regards to a possible short squeeze. Now let's look into the insiders, the amount of holders. You can see that the institutions hold about 19%, and float again by 19%. Number of institutions holding the shares are 171, and you have names like Vanguard, BlackRock, and other institution holders. But what's interesting is the insiders only hold 1.23% of the company. Charlie Munger said that, show me the incentive, I'll show you the outcome. Where you have insiders, or the owners or the promoters of the company have their interest, if they are invested in the company as much as the shareholders, then you would see that their interest and your interest are aligned in the same direction. But yeah, I mean, we could look past it, but something to keep an eye on. Now, this is the quarter two for 2021 report that came out yesterday, and this is something which they filed. So if you look into the 2021, so they had about product revenue, license and royalty revenue, which was 746,000. Back in 2020, it was 572,000. So not so much of a big increase, but yes, definitely some improvement. What's interesting is the contract that they have with the US Army. This is from 2017, 2018 onwards. And why is it not trickling down? It should have increased by now. But again, we don't know what was the whole projection of the deal and the royalty revenue that they were expecting out of it. Now, they had a huge loss this particular quarter. You're looking at about $15 million. And they're breaking this down into two major aspects. One is under research and development expenses. This is under close to 7.3, 7.4 million. And the sales and marketing general administrative expenses, about 8 million. Now, this is very interesting. This is very fun because last year it had only one, they were spending only $1.6 million in the research and development. Now they're spending 7.4 million. Companies who are investing into the research and development aspect, it's all investing into the future and getting that bright picture out of them. But interesting is here in the summary of the second quarter 2021 results, they explained what the breakdown were the losses for. So the 15 million loss, which includes about 8 million of non-cash compensation expenses. So this was more for the compensation aspect compared to $2.3 million loss that they had last year. So you can look into why that 8 million, or this is where this figure is basically coming from. Now, what's interesting is if you look into the SEC filings that were filed for previous years, because Microvision is an old company. It's not relatively new. They were founded back in 1993. So they've been in the market, they've been in the public market since 1996. They have quite a bit of information history that's available out there on the public domain that you can review and understand how this company has been projecting itself. So if you look into the SEC filings from 2006 to 2005, these are quarterly reports from the September third quarter of that year, 2006. You can see that contract revenue was 541,000, the product revenue was 282,000, total revenue was 823,000. Basically, they were making better profits, they were making better revenue back then. They were still having a lot of loss going on, about close to 6 million. This was just a random quarter that I picked up just to see how the financials were projecting. And if you look into this particular chart, this is the 5-year chart, you can see the stock has been fairly in that penny stock range of between 0.07 to about $2-3. That's where the stock has been fluctuating for the past about close to 5-10 years. Now, just in 2020, when that whole EV sector started to bubble up, you can see that the stock has been jumping up crazy. That rumors came out with Apple coming out with their EV vehicle and all these other EV sectors coming up, booming up, the LiDAR technology booming up, all these companies starting to use LiDAR for the EV vehicles. That's where Microvision also saw some revenue boost up. Now, if you look at the maximum chart, so because this is an old company, so you can see the other old information going on. You can see right in that dot-com bubble, this company even went to skyrocketed to $500. Ever since, it has been down and trading in that same $1 range. And now slowly, just now, it started to build up, and you can see how it's happening. And if you look into that dot-com bubble phase, just before the bubble erupted back in 1999, you can see the revenue was crazy. You can see contract revenue was 1.5 million, cost of revenue was 500 or 500, and the gross margin was 973,000 take home. They were still investing into the research, 3 million back then, 1.4 million back then. So, the expenses, the general marketing was not so much, but still investing into that research and development going on continuously. That's something interesting to look into. And the company which has been been down on the block for a long time, since 1993, 1996. Why the company is not yet profitable? Well, where is the company's technology going through? Are they just building up on this technology, just building up on, right? And the contract that they have with the Microsoft, US, the HoloLens is also interesting. But yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it and trying to understand what happened with this company and where the trajectory was since to the 1990s to now, and how's the market basically quantifying the market price right now. So it does require some level of more research and understanding what's happening. But looking at the insiders' information, where they only have about 1.23%, so that tells you, when you have more insiders invested in it, your interest and their interest are in the direction. Anyways, I just wanted to share this information out with you. Found this very interesting. This is not financial advice. Do your own research before you do anything with this company or with any company out there. With that, take care, stay safe. Bye bye.